The mall was packed. Christmas music blared from every corner. Jack held his daughter's hand tight as they wove through the crowd toward Santa's workshop. Lily tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy." "She's crying." Jack turned. His heart stopped. A woman stood by the gingerbread stand, shoulders shaking, tears streaming down her face. Emma, his ex-wife, the woman who walked out 3 years ago without a word. Lily's eyes went wide. "It's Mommy." Before Jack could react, his daughter was running through the crowd, running toward the woman who abandoned them both. Emma dropped to her knees as Lily crashed into her arms. The sound that came from Emma's throat was raw and broken. Jack stood frozen, his world shattering all over again. 3 years. 3 years since Emma left. Jack still remembered the morning he woke up to an empty bed, an empty closet, and a 5-word note on the kitchen counter. "I can't do this anymore." No explanation. No phone call. No forwarding address. Just gone. Lily had been 2 years old. Too young to understand why Mommy wasn't there anymore. Old enough to ask about her every single day for months. Jack had no answers. He had nothing but a screaming toddler, a full-time job, and a heart that felt like it had been put through a wood chipper. The first month was hell. Jack didn't know how to braid hair. He burned macaroni and cheese. He put Lily's shirt on backward more times than he could count. He called his mother crying at 2 in the morning because Lily wouldn't stop asking for her mama. His mother came over the next day with groceries and patience. She taught him how to make a ponytail, how to pack a proper lunch, how to read the same bedtime story 15 times without losing his mind. Slowly, painfully, Jack figured it out. He learned to cook scrambled eggs without setting off the smoke alarm. He learned which cartoons made Lily laugh, and which ones gave her nightmares. He learned to be both father and mother, protector and nurturer, strength and softness all at once. People told him he was doing a great job. Single dads got praised for the bare minimum. Jack knew the truth. He was barely holding it together. Every school play where other kids had 2 parents in the audience. Every Mother's Day craft project that Lily made and then cried over because she had no one to give it to. Every time his daughter asked why Mommy left, and Jack had to swallow his own bitterness and say something kind. He never badmouthed Emma. Not once. Not even when he wanted to scream. Not even when he lay awake at night wondering what he'd done wrong, what he could have fixed, what sign he'd missed that his wife was planning to abandon their family. He told Lily that Mommy loved her very much, that Mommy needed time, that sometimes grown-ups had to go away for a little while. Lies. All lies. But he told them anyway because he refused to let his daughter grow up thinking her mother didn't want her. Even if Jack believed it himself. The years passed. Lily started preschool, then kindergarten. She made friends. She learned to ride a bike. She lost her first tooth. Jack was there for all of it. Every scraped knee, every bad dream, every triumph, and every tear. He became the kind of father he'd always wanted to be. Strong, present, unwavering. And somewhere along the way, he stopped waiting for Emma to come back. He stopped checking his phone for messages that never came. He stopped hoping. His heart turned to stone. It was easier that way. Safer. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Lily had begged to see Santa one more time before Christmas. Jack had agreed, even though the mall would be a nightmare. He'd do anything for his little girl, anything to see her smile. He never expected to see Emma. He never expected his carefully constructed world to come crashing down in the middle of a crowded shopping mall 4 days before Christmas. The seconds stretched like hours. Emma held Lily like she was afraid the child would disappear if she let go. Lily was talking, her words tumbling out in an excited rush. "Mommy, Mommy, I missed you so much. Where did you go? Daddy said you needed time. Are you back now? Can you come home?" Emma's face crumpled. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Jack forced his legs to move. He walked through the crowd, every step heavy until he stood over them both. His voice came out flat and cold. "Lily, we need to go." Lily looked up at him, confused. "But Daddy, it's Mommy. I know who it is." Emma slowly stood, still holding Lily's hand. She looked older, thinner. There were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "Jack, I didn't know you'd be here." "Yeah. Well, life's full of surprises." The bitterness in his tone was thick enough to choke on. People were starting to stare. A woman with a stroller gave them a curious glance. A teenage employee pretended not to watch while restocking candy canes. Jack wanted to grab Lily and run. He wanted to protect her from this, from the confusion and the pain and the inevitable disappointment when Emma left again, but Lily was looking at her mother like she'd hung the moon. Emma's voice cracked. "Can we talk? Just for a few minutes, please." Jack looked down at his daughter, at the hope shining in her eyes. He'd spent 3 years trying to fill the hole Emma left. 3 years being enough. Being everything. And in 30 seconds, Emma had waltzed back in and reminded Lily that there was still a piece missing. He should say no. He should walk away. He should protect his daughter and himself from whatever fresh hell this was about to become. Instead, he heard himself say, "There's a cafe around the corner. 5 minutes." Emma's eyes widened. She nodded quickly, like she was afraid he'd change his mind. Jack picked Lily up and carried her through the crowd. She waved at Emma over his shoulder. "Come on, Mommy." Emma followed, her heels clicking on the tile floor. The cafe was blessedly quiet. Most people were still shopping. Jack ordered a hot chocolate for Lily and 2 black coffees. He didn't ask Emma what she wanted. They sat at a corner table. The silence was suffocating. Lily swung her legs under the chair, looking from her father to her mother and back again. Emma's hands shook as she wrapped them around the coffee cup. "Thank you," she said quietly. For agreeing to talk, Jack said nothing. He couldn't trust himself to speak without yelling. Emma took a breath. "I know you have questions." "You think?" The words came out sharper than he intended. Lily frowned. Jack forced himself to soften. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't let his anger poison this moment for his daughter, no matter how much he wanted to. "Daddy's just surprised, sweetheart," Jack said, smoothing Lily's hair. He looked at Emma. "Why are you here?" "I live here now. I moved back 2 months ago." 2 months. Emma had been in the same town for 2 months and hadn't contacted them. The knot in Jack's chest tightened. "And you didn't think we deserved to know?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I was afraid. I didn't think I had the right to reach out after what I did. You didn't." The words hung in the air like shards of broken glass. Lily looked confused. Emma flinched, but didn't look away. "You're right. I don't have the right to ask for anything. But I need you to know why I left." Jack laughed. But there was no humor in it. "Oh, this should be good." "Jack, please." "No. You know what? I'm done with please. I'm done with maybes, and some days. You walked out on us. On your daughter. You left a 2-year-old child wondering why her mother didn't love her anymore. I never stopped loving her." Emma's voice broke. "I never stopped loving either of you. Then why?" The question exploded out of him. 3 years of silence and confusion and rage poured into those 2 words. "Why did you leave?" Emma's hands trembled. She set down her coffee before she spilled it. When she spoke, her voice was so quiet Jack had to lean in to hear. "I had postpartum depression." The words hit him like a physical blow. Jack stared at her. "What?" "After Lily was born, I couldn't function. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. I kept having these thoughts that I was a terrible mother. That Lily deserved better. That you deserved better. That everyone would be happier if I just disappeared." Jack's mind reeled. He thought back to those early months after Lily's birth. Emma had been distant, withdrawn. She'd cried a lot. He'd thought it was normal. Adjustment. Exhaustion. He'd tried to help, but she'd pushed him away. He thought she just needed space. Why didn't you tell me? I tried. I tried to explain, but the words wouldn't come. And every time I looked at you holding Lily, looking so natural and confident, I felt like more of a failure. I convinced myself that you didn't need me, that Lily didn't need me, that I was just in the way. Emma wiped her eyes with shaking hands. So I left. I thought it was the kindest thing I could do, let you both move on without the burden of a broken wife and mother. Jack felt like the ground had dropped out from under him. You thought we were better off without you? I wasn't thinking clearly. That's what depression does. It lies to you. It makes you believe terrible things that aren't true. Emma's voice cracked. I went to my sister's place in Oregon. I checked myself into treatment. I did therapy. Medication. I worked so hard to get better. But every day, I thought about you both. Every single day. And every day, I was too ashamed to call. Too afraid you'd tell me not to bother. That you'd moved on. Jack sat back in his chair, his mind spinning. All this time, he'd thought Emma left because she didn't love them. Because they weren't enough. The anger that had sustained him for 3 years suddenly felt hollow. He looked at Lily, who was quietly sipping her hot chocolate, watching them both with wide eyes. He thought about all the nights he'd paced the floor with a screaming toddler, wondering what he'd done wrong. All the times he'd blamed himself for not being a good enough husband to make Emma want to stay. She'd been sick, she'd been drowning, and he hadn't known. I remember, he said slowly. I remember you crying all the time. I remember you wouldn't let me touch you. Wouldn't talk to me. I thought you just didn't want to be with me anymore. Emma shook her head. Tears streaming down her face. I wanted to be with you so badly it hurt. But my brain kept telling me I was poison, that I'd ruin you both if I stayed. Why didn't you reach out, even once? A text, a call, anything to let us know you were alive? I was ashamed and terrified. I thought you hated me. I thought Lily would hate me. I thought I'd burned every bridge and there was no way back. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. I was wrong. I know that now. I should have tried. I should have fought for you both. I should have at least let you know I was okay. I'm so sorry. Jack didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to rage at her, to tell her that sorry wasn't enough, that she'd missed 3 years of their daughter's life, 3 years of firsts that could never be reclaimed. But another part of him, a part he'd tried to bury, remembered loving this woman, remembered laughing with her, building a life with her, making a child with her. That part of him recognized the pain in her eyes, the genuine remorse. The woman sitting across from him wasn't a monster. She was broken. She'd been broken all along. He'd just been too blind to see it. I don't know if I can forgive you, he said finally. I don't know if I even want to. Emma nodded, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. I understand. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know the truth. I wanted you to know that leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done, and that I regretted it every single day. Lily had been quiet through most of the conversation, but now she set down her cup and looked at her mother with serious eyes. Mommy, do you still love me? Emma's face crumpled. She reached across the table and took Lily's small hands in hers. Oh, baby. I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. Not for 1 heartbeat. You are the most important thing in my entire world. Then, why didn't you come back? The question was simple, childlike, and it cut deeper than any accusation. Emma's voice shook. Because I was scared. I thought you wouldn't remember me. I thought you'd be happier without me. I thought I'd already hurt you too much to ever make it right. Lily tilted her head, studying her mother. But you're here now. 3 words. Just 3 words. But they hung in the air, like a revelation. Jack felt something shift in his chest. But you're here now. Not 3 years ago. Not in all the moments that had already passed. Here. Now. In this moment. Emma was here. Jack had spent so long focused on what Emma had taken from them that he hadn't considered what might happen if she came back. If she stayed. If she tried. Lily squeezed her mother's hands. Daddy says we should always try. He says trying is what matters. Emma looked at Jack, her eyes pleading. Is that true? Jack thought about the last 3 years, about all the times he'd tried and failed and tried again, about learning to braid hair and cook decent meals and be present even when he was exhausted, about showing up for his daughter every single day because that's what parents do. They try. He looked at Emma, at the woman who'd broken his heart and shattered their family, at the mother his daughter had never stopped missing. Yeah, he said quietly. Trying is what matters. Emma's breath hitched. Does that mean? She trailed off, not daring to finish the question. Jack didn't answer. Not yet. He wasn't ready to make promises. Wasn't ready to trust again. But maybe, just maybe, he was ready to listen. To see if Emma really had changed. To find out if the woman sitting across from him could be the mother Lily deserved. It means we're not done talking, he said carefully. It means you get a chance. Not a guarantee. A chance. Emma nodded frantically. That's all I'm asking for. A chance to show you I'm different. That I'm better. That I can be the mother Lily needs. Lily beamed. Does that mean you can come to dinner? Jack blinked. Lily, please, Daddy? It's almost Christmas. Santa says Christmas is about family. Emma looked like she was holding her breath. Jack wanted to say no, wanted to keep his walls up, wanted to protect himself and his daughter from the possibility of more pain. But Lily was looking at him with those big, hopeful eyes, and Emma was looking at him like he held her entire world in his hands. He'd spent 3 years being everything for Lily. Maybe it was time to let her mother try to be something too. The words came out before Jack could stop them. Dinner. 6 o'clock. Just dinner. Lily let out a squeal of delight and threw her arms around his neck. Emma pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming freely now. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Jack held up a hand. This doesn't mean we're okay. This doesn't mean I forgive you. This is for Lily. Just Lily. I understand. Emma's voice was thick with emotion. I'll be there. 6 o'clock. I promise. They stood to leave. Lily grabbed both of their hands, one in each of hers, and swung between them as they walked toward the exit. Jack caught Emma's eye over their daughter's head. The look she gave him was raw and vulnerable and terrified. He looked away. The drive home was quiet. Lily chattered about seeing Mommy, about what they should make for dinner, about whether Emma would like the Christmas tree they'd decorated. Jack made non-committal sounds and tried to process what had just happened. He'd invited his ex-wife to Christmas dinner. The woman who'd abandoned them, the woman he'd spent 3 years trying to forget. What the hell was he thinking? But when he glanced in the rearview mirror and saw Lily smile, he knew exactly what he was thinking. His daughter deserved a chance to know her mother, even if it destroyed him in the process. The next day was a blur of cleaning and cooking. Jack vacuumed the living room 3 times. He changed his shirt twice. He told himself it didn't matter what Emma thought of their home, of him, of the life they'd built without her. He told himself he was doing this for Lily. Only for Lily. He almost believed it. At 5:30, Lily planted herself by the window. Is she here yet? Is she coming? She said 6 o'clock, sweetheart. What if she doesn't come? What if she changes her mind? The fear in Lily's voice made Jack's chest ache. He knelt down beside her. If she doesn't come, then we'll have a great dinner together. Just you and me. Like always. But I want Mommy to come. I know, baby. I know. At 5:58, a car pulled up outside. Jack's heart began to pound. Emma stepped out, carrying a covered dish and a small wrapped present. She was wearing a dark green sweater and jeans. Her hair was down. She looked nervous. Lily burst out the front door before Jack could stop her. Mommy, you came. You really came. Emma set down the dish and scooped Lily into her arms, spinning her around. Of course I came. I promised, didn't I? Jack stood in the doorway, watching. His daughter was radiant, absolutely radiant. He hadn't seen her this happy in 3 years. Emma carried Lily up the walk, both of them laughing. When she reached the porch, she met Jack's eyes. Hi. Hi. I brought dessert. And a gift for Lily. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to. She hesitated. Can I come in? Jack stepped aside. Yeah. Of course. Emma walked into the house slowly, like she was stepping onto sacred ground. Her eyes moved over everything. The couch where Jack had rocked Lily to sleep countless times. The bookshelf full of picture books. The crayons scattered on the coffee table. The Christmas tree in the corner, slightly lopsided, decorated with handmade ornaments. She stopped, stared. On the mantel, among the stockings Jack had hung for himself and Lily, was a third stocking. Faded. Untouched for 3 years. It had Emma's name on it. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. You kept it. Jack shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable. Lily wouldn't let me take it down. Daddy said maybe you'd come back someday, Lily chimed in. He said we should leave it up just in case. Emma turned to him, eyes brimming with tears. You said that. Jack busied himself with adjusting the table settings. I said maybe. Didn't want her to lose hope. Even though you had? The question was soft. Pointed. He didn't answer. Dinner started awkward. They passed dishes in silence. Jack carved the ham with more focus than necessary. Emma complimented the mashed potatoes 3 times. Lily filled the gaps with stories about school, about her friends, about the dance recital she had next month. But slowly, gradually, the tension began to ease. Emma asked Lily about her favorite subjects. Lily demonstrated her ballet positions right there in the dining room. Jack found himself almost smiling. Almost. After dinner, Emma pulled out the gift. I saw this and thought of you. Lily tore into the wrapping paper. Inside was a snow globe with a tiny ballerina inside. When she shook it, the ballerina spun as glitter snow fell around her. It's perfect. Lily hugged it to her chest. Thank you, Mommy. I remember you said you wanted to be a ballerina when you grew up. Lily's eyes went wide. You remembered? I remember everything about you, sweetheart. Emma's voice was thick with emotion. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. She handed it to Jack. What's this? Open it. Inside was a photograph. Jack stared at it. It was him, holding newborn Lily in the hospital. His face was exhausted and awestruck. Lily was tiny, wrapped in a pink blanket. Her eyes closed. Jack had never seen this photo before. I took this the night she was born, Emma said quietly. I printed it before I left. I've kept it with me every day. I wanted you to have it. Jack couldn't speak. He just stared at the image of himself, 3 years younger, holding his daughter for one of the first times. He'd been terrified that night, terrified and overwhelmed, and madly in love with the tiny human in his arms. I have thousands of pictures, Emma continued. Pictures of you and Lily. Pictures of all of us. I couldn't bring myself to delete them. I looked at them every night. Jack set the photo down carefully. He didn't trust his voice. Lily leaned against Emma's side. Will you watch a Christmas movie with us? Emma looked at Jack. He could see the hope and fear warring in her eyes. If your dad says it's okay, Jack wanted to say no, wanted to end the evening now, before it became too comfortable, too familiar, too much like what they used to be. But Lily was already pulling out Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Emma was sitting on the edge of the couch like she was afraid to take up too much space. One movie, Jack said. Lily cheered and popped in the DVD. She sat between them, her head on Emma's shoulder. Emma stroked her hair absently, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Jack watched them from the corner of his eye. He watched the way Emma's face softened as she looked at their daughter, the way she smiled at all the parts Lily laughed at, The way she seemed to drink in every moment like she was terrified it would be the last. By the time the credits rolled, Lily was yawning. "Bedtime, kiddo," Jack said. Lily rubbed her eyes. Then she looked at Emma. "Will you read me a story?" Emma's breath caught. "Aye. If your father is okay with that." Jack wanted to say no. Bedtime was theirs. His and Lily's. It was sacred. But Lily was looking at him with pleading eyes. "Please, Daddy?" He forced himself to nod. "One story." Emma followed Lily upstairs. Jack stayed in the living room, listening to the sound of their footsteps overhead, the creak of Lily's bedroom door, the soft murmur of voices. He should go up there. He should supervise. He should protect his daughter from the possibility of another abandonment. But he didn't move. Upstairs, Emma sat on the edge of Lily's bed. The room was exactly how she'd imagined it, and nothing like she'd expected. There were posters of ballerinas on the walls, a shelf full of stuffed animals, a little desk with crayons and coloring books. Lily handed her a worn copy of Goodnight Moon. "This is my favorite." Emma's voice shook as she opened the book. "It was my favorite too when I was little." She read slowly, savoring every word, every picture, every moment she got to spend with her daughter. When she finished, Lily snuggled into her pillow. "Will you come back tomorrow?" The question made Emma's heart crack open. "I don't know." "Sweetie, that's up to your dad. But I want you to come back. I want you to stay." Emma smoothed Lily's hair, blinking back tears. "I want that too. More than anything." "Then why can't you?" "Because sometimes grown-ups need time to figure things out. Your dad and I, we have a lot to talk about." Lily's face scrunched up. "Is Daddy still mad at you?" Emma paused. "He has every right to be mad at me. But you're sorry. And you love us. Daddy says when people are sorry and they love you, you should forgive them." Out of the mouths of babes. Emma leaned down and kissed Lily's forehead. "Your daddy is a very smart man, and a very good father. The best father." Lily's eyes were already drooping. "I love you, Mommy." Emma's voice broke. "I love you too, baby girl. So much." By the time Emma came back downstairs, her eyes were red. Jack was washing dishes in the kitchen. He didn't look up when she entered. "Thank you for letting me put her to bed." "She asked for you." Emma picked up a dish towel and started drying. They worked in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Emma spoke. "Before I left, I kept a list. Things I was afraid I'd forget. The way Lily smelled, the sound of her laugh, the way she held her stuffed rabbit." She paused. "I kept the list in my wallet. I read it every night. I was so afraid I'd lose those memories." Jack's hands stilled in the soapy water. "You could have made new memories. You could have been here." "I know. And I'll regret that for the rest of my life." Emma set down the dish she'd been drying. "But I'm here now, and I'm asking for a chance to make new memories, not to replace the ones I missed, just to build something new." Jack finally looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the lines of pain around her eyes. The way she held herself like she expected him to lash out at any moment. The genuine remorse that radiated from every part of her. "I can't promise anything," he said quietly. "I can't promise I'll ever fully trust you again. I can't promise Lily won't get hurt. I know. But Lily deserves to know her mother. And you deserve a chance to be that mother. If you're really committed, I am. I swear to you, I am." Jack dried his hands. "Then we start slow, supervised visits. Regular times. You don't get to just show up. Whenever you want. And if you miss even one visit, if you hurt her even once, you'll never have to worry about that. I won't miss. I won't hurt her. I promise." Emma's voice was fierce. "I'm not that person anymore. I'm better. I'm healthy. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving that to both of you." Jack nodded slowly. "We'll talk after the holidays. Figure out a schedule. Figure out what this looks like." "Thank you." Emma's eyes shone with tears. Thank you for giving me this chance. Don't thank me yet. You have to earn it. I will. I'll earn it every day. Emma gathered her coat and purse. At the door, she hesitated. Jack? Can I ask you something? What? Why didn't you ever tell Lily I was a bad mother? You could have. You could have turned her against me. But you didn't. Jack thought about all the nights he'd wanted to do exactly that. All the times he'd bitten back, angry words. All the moments he could have poisoned his daughter against the woman who abandoned them. Because I knew you loved her, he said finally. Even when I hated you, even when I was so angry I couldn't see straight, I knew you loved Lily, and I couldn't let her grow up believing her mother didn't want her. Even if I believed it myself. Emma's face crumpled. I did want her. I wanted her so much. I just didn't believe I deserved her. That's the depression talking. I know that now. She wiped her eyes. I'm in therapy. I'm on medication. I have tools now. Ways to cope. I won't disappear again. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I promise I'll be here. Jack didn't respond. He couldn't. He just opened the door. Emma stepped out onto the porch. Good night, Jack. Good night. He watched her walk to her car. Watched her drive away. Then he closed the door and leaned against it, his heart pounding. What had he just done? What had he just agreed to? Upstairs, Lily was sound asleep, hugging her new snow globe. She looked peaceful, content. Happier than Jack had seen her in years. Maybe he'd made the right choice. Or maybe he'd just set them all up for another heartbreak. Only time would tell. 6 months later, everything had changed, and nothing had changed. Emma kept her word. She showed up for every scheduled visit. Every single one. At first, Jack supervised closely. He watched for signs that Emma was slipping. That the depression was coming back. That she'd run again. But she never did. She showed up on time. She remembered details. She asked Lily about her friends, her dance class, her favorite books. She brought coloring books and helped with homework, and sat through an endless parade of animated movies without complaining once. Slowly, painfully, trust began to rebuild. Jack started letting Emma take Lily to the park alone. Then to the library. Then to lunch. Lily bloomed. She talked about Mommy constantly. Mommy said this. Mommy did that. Mommy promised to come to her dance recital. And Emma did. She sat in the front row next to Jack, both of them beaming as Lily twirled across the stage in a pink tutu. After the show, Lily ran to them both. And for the first time in 3 years, they felt almost like a family again. Not the same family. Not the family they'd been before. But something new. Something fragile and tentative and maybe, possibly, worth fighting for. One Saturday in early summer, the three of them went to the park. It was Lily's idea. She wanted to show Mommy her favorite climbing tree. Jack pushed Lily on the swings, while Emma sat on a nearby bench, watching them with soft eyes. Then Emma took over. And Jack sat down, watching his daughter laugh, as Emma pushed her higher and higher. Higher, Mommy. Higher. Lily shrieked with delight. Emma laughed, a sound Jack hadn't heard in years. When Lily finally wore herself out, she collapsed on the grass between them, spreading her arms wide. This is the best day ever, she announced. Emma and Jack exchanged glances. Yeah, Emma said softly. It really is. Later, as they packed up to leave, Emma cleared her throat. I have some news, Jack tensed. What kind of news? Good news, I hope. She took a breath. I got a job. At a graphic design firm downtown. It's full-time. I start next month. Jack blinked. That's great. It means I'm staying. Permanently. I'm putting down roots here. I want to be part of Lily's life. Not just visits. Really part of it. Emma, I'm not asking to move back in, she said quickly. I'm not asking for anything except the chance to keep being her mother. I know we still have a long way to go, but I'm not running. Not anymore. Jack looked at her, at the determination in her eyes, the strength she'd rebuilt, the woman she'd become. Okay, he said. Okay. Emma's face broke into a smile. Yeah? Yeah. Stay. Be her mother. She needs you. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me. I'm not sure I do yet, Jack admitted. But I'm willing to try. That's all I need. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in the back seat. Emma followed them in her own car. When they pulled into the driveway, she got out and helped Jack carry Lily inside. They tucked her into bed together, and for a moment, standing side by side in their daughter's room, it felt like old times. Emma looked around the room, at the walls Jack had painted, the furniture he'd assembled, the home he'd built for their daughter all by himself. You did an amazing job, she said quietly. With her. With everything. You're an incredible father. I did what I had to do. You did more than that. You gave her stability and love and a happy childhood. You could have let her feel abandoned, but you didn't. You made sure she knew she was loved. Emma turned to him. I can never make up for the time I missed. I know that, but I'd like to try to be the mother she deserves. The mother you both deserve. Jack met her eyes. For the first time, in 3 years, he didn't feel angry when he looked at her. He felt hopeful. Cautious, but hopeful. We can try, he said. We can see what happens. I'd like that. Emma smiled, a real smile. I'd like that a lot. As they walked downstairs together, Jack felt something shift. The weight he'd been carrying for 3 years felt lighter. The walls he'd built around his heart felt a little less solid. He wasn't ready to forgive. Not completely. Not yet. But maybe someday. Maybe. Emma stopped at the door. Same time next week? Same time. She hesitated, then stepped forward and hugged him quickly. Jack froze, then slowly hugged her back. It lasted only a second, but it felt monumental. When Emma pulled away, she was crying. Thank you, she whispered. For giving me a chance. Jack nodded, not trusting himself to speak. He watched her drive away, then went back inside. The house felt different. Fuller, somehow. Like a piece that had been missing, had finally clicked into place. Upstairs, Lily stirred in her sleep and smiled. Jack stood in her doorway, watching her. His daughter. His reason for everything. She'd taught him how to be a father. She'd taught him how to be strong. And now, maybe, she was teaching him how to forgive. He thought about that night, 6 months ago, about Lily's words in the cafe. But you're here now. Not the past, not what had been lost. Just the present. Just the choice to show up, to try, to be there. 3 years ago, Jack's world fell apart. Tonight, watching his daughter sleep with a smile on her face, he felt it starting to come back together. Different. Scarred. But whole. He walked downstairs and looked at the mantel. 3 stockings hung there. 1 for him, 1 for Lily, and 1 for Emma. Maybe next Christmas, Emma would be there to fill hers. And, for him, 1 for Lily. And, M. 9. 1. Nodiem. Maybe they'd wake up together Christmas morning. Maybe they'd be a family again. Or maybe not. Maybe they'd just be 2 people learning how to co-parent, learning how to move forward without forgetting the past. Either way, they were trying. And trying, Jack had learned, was what mattered most. Outside, the summer night was warm and still. Inside, Jack felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. And for now, that was enough.